Hey everyone, welcome back to another print on demand video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the top 7 niches to sell t-shirts in 2024. For those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Greg and I've been a print on demand seller for nearly a decade now. And with these videos here on YouTube, I'm trying to give you the most honest, genuine information to help you succeed in print on demand without all of the fluff. So with that being said, in this video, I'm going to walk you through on camera and on my computer here, step by step, what are the 7 niches that are going to sell really well in 2024? And I'm going to show you how I found these so that you can see the proof. All right, without further ado, let's get straight into this video. And the first thing that I have to explain in this process is that most people are going to share with you big general overall niches. Now, since I started selling print on demand, you used to be able to go into these big overall niches and just create designs generally about that niche. Now, since then, especially in the last couple of years, as artificial intelligence has started to make the designing process a lot easier for print on demand, those big general niches have simply filled up. So if you want to succeed in print on demand and keep getting sales, you have to go into what I call the sub niches. Now, in the simplest form, basically what this is you find one of the big general niches and you break that down into the subsets that are within the general niche. Now, if you know the right way to do this, it's actually a very simple process and it leads you into thousands or tens of thousands of different sub niches that you can go into that you will find out other print on demand sellers are not selling in yet. So this is essentially our recipe for success here in print on demand in 2024. It's simply what you need to do if you want to succeed. All right, so now that we are on the same page with the concept of these niches need to be broken down into these sub niches, now let me show you what these 7 niches are that will do extremely well in 2024 and how to break them down into these sub niches. So the very first niche that is going to do extremely well in 2024 is mental health. Now, when you are thinking of mental health overall, it can be a little bit confusing as to what to make designs on and what people are actually going to be purchasing. So that's why we're going to break this down into sub niches and it'll make it all very clear on what kind of designs to make. So let's switch over to the computer and I'll show you how to break this first one down into sub niches. Okay, so now that we are on the computer, the first step that we need to do is use a tool that is going to break this niche down into all of the sub niches by referencing print on demand data. This is something that you simply can't do on Google because it's not going to give you the print on demand specific data. So with that being said, this is the tool that I personally use and have been using for years. You've probably seen it in my other videos because it is a big part of my print on demand process. The name of the tool is Merch Informer and this is a paid tool to use, but trust me, it is well worth the couple dollars per month. As far as pricing goes, it is $10 per month. You only need the newbie plan to do this. They do have a professional plan. It's going to give you a couple extra features, but to do what we are doing in finding these sub niches, the newbie plan is all you need for this. Now, also importantly, I have a discount code from them for 20% off. I will link that down in the description. So if you use that to sign up, it's only about $8 per month. And the last thing is that they have a 3-day free trial. So you can just start a free trial here and do this entire process that we're going to explain for the first 3 days totally for free. All right, with all that being said, let me log into my account and I'll show you how to do this. Okay, so once you are logged into your Merch Informer account or you're on the free trial, whatever that may be, come over to the left side. This is where you're going to find all of their tools. They have a bunch of different features for print on demand. I use several of these different features throughout my print on demand process. However, the one that we need specifically for this is in keyword research, and we're going to go to keyword finder. Now, essentially what this tool does for you is you just enter in the overall niche and it's going to break it down into all of the different sub niches. And then it's going to take it one step further and tell you if that sub niche is already competitive or if there are very little sellers in there. So let's take this first example here of mental health. All you do is type it in, click search, and literally you can scroll down here in a couple seconds and there are 265 different sub niches within mental health. And if we just look at what that phrase is, or basically what that sub niche is, and then come right over to the color kind of rectangle over here, this is going to tell you the competition level. So what we are looking for is the low competition sub niches. So that would be the green low over here. And as we scroll through here, you can just see that there is a ton of green. This just means that this overall niche is wide open with all of these sub niches. There is literally so much to go into. Now, as far as the columns that are in the middle here, this is basically the search volume of how many people are searching for that. You can pretty much disregard all of this. this is going to tell you overall how big that sub niche is within the overall niche. But I found that even some of these really small ones that have very little search traffic end up being really big sellers. So anything that you find on the left side that makes sense as a good sub niche, as long as it says low competition, I would definitely go into that. Now, to kind of walk you through this so you can see where my mind is at on how I look at this, some of these really aren't going to make much sense, so you can just disregard them. Like mental health, mental, that's a keyword combination that you could put in your title and description that has a lot of search traffic, clearly, and low competition, but it doesn't give you an idea of what kind of design to make. So as you keep coming through here, mental health is health. That could be a good phrase that you could put on your design. But then we're getting into the good stuff like spiritual mental health, sunflower mental health, sports mental health. All of these are low competition, and these are all sub niches that you can be creating designs in. Okay, so that's pretty much the run through of the very first niche for 2024 that's going to do really well. And as you can see with this one is what I would call it a direct search. So what I mean by that is you're able to take that overall niche of mental health and you're able to type it in directly into the keyword finder and break it down into sub niches. Now, as we continue in this video and I share the other niches with you for 2024, some of them are still so big overall that you'll have to break them down into sub niches and then take that sub niche and break it down into more sub niches. And I'll walk you through every step of doing that so it all makes sense and you can follow right along. All right, so the next print on demand niche that is set up to do extremely well in 2024 is gardening. Now, gardening is another one of the niches that you can type in directly. So you can go to the keyword finder on Merchantformer and it's going to break it down into hundreds of different sub niches, and you will see a ton of them are golden opportunities with low competition. All right, moving on to the third niche for 2024. This is one of the overall niches that you'll need to break down and then break down again. And what this one is fitness and health. So I've combined both of these really big niches together because they are both kind of blended with each other. You will see as you start to do this research, but let me switch back over to the computer and I'll show you how to break these down into initial sub niches and then break it down on Merchantformer to find the really profitable low competition ones. Okay, so back on the computer here, the next tool that I use for this to break it down into kind of subsets within that overall niche is totally free to use. It's called ChatGPT. So if you haven't used this before, you can pretty much just go to Google, look up ChatGPT. This is how it is spelled right here. And by the way, if these things are hard to find, I will put links to them all in the description so you can click on them one by one. It'll take you directly to the tools I'm using here. But what this tool is an artificial intelligence tool. So you can basically ask it a question and it will give you an answer based on all of the information available on Google and the internet as a whole. And essentially the way that I use this is as a brainstorming tool. It doesn't reference any print on demand data, so it's not going to give you specific information on things, but you can basically treat it as a virtual assistant. You ask it a question and it'll get back to you pretty much instantly with that answer. So the way that we use it for this part of the process is basically to say, write 50 types of, and then you type in what that overall niche is. So I'm going to do fitness for this. I'm just going to click enter, and it's basically going to break that down, and you can see it writing the answer right here, into 50 different subsets within that overall niche. But for example, on this, fitness is such a big overall niche that when you come down here, you will see things like CrossFit, or you'll see things like yoga. Those are still massive niches overall. So this is basically our first line here to take that massive niche, break it down into smaller things, and then these are the ones that you can individually check on Merchantformer to see if there are low competition sub niches within these niches. Now, using a tool like ChatGPT is basically a glorified Google, but it's just going to give you really quick, very versatile answers. Like for instance, you can just say, write me 50 more, and it'll continue that list with 50 more ideas that you can go put into Merchantformer. So that's that on the third niche, that is fitness and health. Now let's get into the fourth niche. Again, this is going to be one of those really big overall niches to break down and then break down again. And what this niche is pets. This is one of those overall niches that you will find out as you start breaking it down. There are so many different types of specific pets that are pretty much untouched in print on demand, even in 2024. And what I love about it is that a lot of these, you can use the same phrase and a very similar design and just switch the specific type of pet. All right, moving on to the next niche for 2024. This niche is social causes. Now, this is a niche that has become very popular and a lot of people have a lot of emotion for in 2024. And you will see that once you start breaking this one down and just get a huge list of all of the different social causes that are relevant today. Once you start looking into those and see which ones have low competition, you're going to find a ton of opportunity here as well. All right, we're down to the last two niches. These are both very similar. I wanted to separate them because they are such big niches. But what's interesting about these two niches is that one, you can break them down and then you can break them down again, or you can search for them on Merch Informer directly. You basically have two different options here. So both of these are going to give you a ton of different ideas for 2024. So the first of these two niches is travel. So for this travel one, you want to be thinking of different locations and then make designs that are relevant to that location. And then the last of the 7 niches, again, this is one that you can search directly, or you can break it down and break it down again. This one is outdoors. Think along the lines of different activities or hobbies that you can do outdoors. And I think you're really going to be amazed at once you see the results in all of these sub niches with how many of them have no sellers in them. So guys, hopefully this video has been helpful. The links will be down in the description, and also the 20% off discount code to Merch Informer is also in the description. With that being said, if you guys have any questions or anything that was missed in this video and you're still confused about, just let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to help you out.